Gimel, 1982. And this Farbrengen was from a Shabbos Parshas Vayera, but that year, Shabbos Parshas Vayera came out on Chof Cheshvan, the Rebbe Rashab's birthday. So here, it was that year that they said the same kapitel that we say this year for the Rebbe, kapitel Kuf Chav Gimel, and the Rebbe is going to explain things having to do with the Geula, with that kapitel in Tehillim. So we're going to start from the middle of the page where it says Tes, fourth paragraph from the top. In addition to what the Rebbe spoke about earlier in the Farbrengen about different aspects of the date of the month and the Shabbos, etc., we also have an additional lesson from the Perek in Tehillim that it corresponds to the years of the one whose Yom Haledes is, which is Perek Kuf Chav Gimel. That year, in Tafshin Mem Gimel, they started saying Perek Kuf Chav Gimel in Tehillim for the Rebbe Rashab. Ki Chav Cheshvan the Shana Zu, he has Cholos Shnas Atov Kuf Chav Gimel. It's the beginning of the saying the kapitel of Tov, of the year of, not the kapitel, but the going into the Rebbe Rashab's 123rd year. In other words, it was his 122nd birthday, because from
Tov. That's the same as the Rebbe this year.
That's exactly what I said. So he said, Tov Reish Chof Aleph, the Rebbe Rashab was born in 1860. And the year that the Rebbe was saying this Farbrengen, this Sikh was in Tafshin Mem Gimel, 1982. Okay, Dua, Sipur Rabbi Seim Nasienu, this Amiras Maimer Chassidus Began Eden, ala Perek HaMechuven LeMispra Hashanim, Afilu La'achrei Estalkus. It's known, the stories of our Rabbeim, about that the Rabbeim said in Gan Eden, Mamor Chassidus, on the Perek of Tillim, that corresponds to their age, even though it was after their passing away. One might think that after the passing, the Tehillim year doesn't apply. So the Rebbe says, no, we know stories the Frierdiker Rebbe related about visions of the Rabbeim saying Mamorim on the corresponding chapter in Tehillim according to their age. So we see that even though the Rebbe Rashab had passed away by Tafshin Mem Gimel, he was already a long time passed away. He passed away in 1920. Still in all, there is a lesson to be derived, and there's a connection with chapter 123 in Tehillim, which they would say that particular year. Now, just as a side point, this year, Chof Cheshvan does not come out in Shabbos Parshas Vayera. It actually comes out in the week already of Parshas Chayesara. But this is what came up, so we're going to learn this. Because the Perek Kuf Chav Gimel Shabbat Tehillim, in the title or caption of chapter 123 in Tehillim, if you look in the Oil Yosef Yitzchak Tehillims and the Tehillims printed by Kahaz, there's like under the chapter number, it says like a short blurb about the message, the concept, the idea behind this Perek in Tehillim. Most chapters. Surely these captions were written by reliable people. It's not just some, a printer decided to put it in. So Nemar, it says as follows in the caption, quote, HaMeshoirer Mekoinen Alzman Aruch, the singer, in other words, the author of this chapter in Tehillim, is lamenting the long time, v'rav, and great amount of time, she'avru kvar begolos, that already passed by in goals. V'zeu ha'toichem the klos ha'perek adlos siyumoi. That is the content of this general chapter in Tehillim until its conclusion. Choneinu Hashem choneinu, favor us Hashem, favor us, ki rav savan nevuz, because we have been overly satiated and filled with those people mocking us. Much our soul has been satiated and filled with mockery and embarrassment and poking fun. Keloimar, this means to say, shekvar zman rava oruch savanus halag va'abuz zman agolus, is already a long and great amount of time that we've been filled with the mockery and the shame of the time of Golus. Shezeu apirish the Parshas Aksuvim. That's the simple meaning of the psukim over there. V'hinei klolos hatfilah v'abakosha dechaneinu Hashem chaneinu kirav savanu v'uz goymer. The general davening, the general request that Hashem should show us favor because we have been filled with mockery and so on. To you I raise up my eyes, the one that is sitting in heavens. Yehudi raises, made him as Einov Alosh Rashmaim, raise up his eyes to his Father in heaven. And he is asking that there should be the end and the conclusion already of the Golus. Zoyse Meres, the Rebbe begins the last paragraph. Though Hashem is found in the earth as he is in heaven, so why are we saying Elecha Nasasi Yisainim Bashamayim? Why are we focusing on heaven? Hashem is found all over. And how do we know that Hashem is found down here, just like in the heavens? Like it says, Shamayim Vesar Tani Moli. The heavens and the earth I fill. Malik Halor's Kvoida, his glory fills the earth. Ve'adrab, even more so. Down here in earth, there is a greater connection with Hashem. Like it says, Hashemayim, Vishmei Hashemayim lo yichal kelucha. The heavens and the heavens of heavens cannot contain you, it says. Va'af ki abayis hazeh. But what can contain you? This home, the Beis HaMikdash, can contain you. Benichusa means, some read Va'af ki abayis hazeh. How could it be that this home, the Beis HaMikdash, can contain you if the heavens of heavens cannot contain you? But it's also read that even though they don't contain you, this home does contain you. Like it's explained in the teachings of Chassidus, Koloimar, this means to say, specifically this home, Beis HaMikdash hanimtza b'eretz ha'lezu ha'gashmis, the Beis HaMikdash that's found in this physical earth, who kli la'ashros ha'shchina, is a vessel to have the Shechina reside in it. But what does that have to do with us now? Even though the physical edifice, the physical building of the Beis HaMikdash does not exist at present, there's still the idea of I shall dwell amongst you. Hashem dwells amongst every Yid while he is in Hashem in a body, also in the time of exile. And not only is it about Hashem, but it's also about what Hashem gave us, the Torah. In a similar vein concerning the general idea of Torah. The Torah is not in heaven. It was given specifically down here on the earth. Therefore, one could think that don't raise your eyes to heaven. Not like it says in Perek Kuf Chav Gimel. Why should we raise our eyes to heaven? Torah is down here. Hashem is down here. V'im kein yochel Yehudi lachshav she'einav tzrichos lius lamata. A Yid could think that his eyes has to be below. It's very interesting. The Rebbe is playing off a phrase that's brought down concerning davening. It's brought down Shulchan Aruch. It's brought down the Maimer Chazal. That liboy lamayla ve'einov lamata. That when a person davens, his heart has to be towards the heavens, towards Hashem, but his eyes has to be focused down here below, not like in the simple sense, not just looking around all over the place. You got to focus on the davening. Deeper meaning it is that you have to aspire for high levels, but not forget about transforming the self. Either way, the Rebbe is like borrowing from there and saying that when the Yid is like suffering from this overfilled mockery that we are suffering in the time of Golus, we can go ahead and think that maybe my eyes have to be focused downward. For this comes the lesson of chapter 123. Eilecha nasasius einai. To you I have raised up my eyes. Hayoshvi bashamoyim, the one that is settled and dwells in the heavens. Koloimar, this means to say, Shahagdom lechol ha'inyonim, the preface to all matters, that's the beginning of the kapitel Tillim, Tzricha liyos ba'ofen, has to be in such a manner that Lechon asasius einai yosh bashmoim, to you I have raised up my eyes that are settled in the heavens. Shenoiseyas einav, is he raises his eyes, umiskasherim aviv shebashamayim, and he binds himself with his Father in heaven. Moving, it's understood, it's not a contradiction to what we said earlier, that the Torah was given specifically down here on the earth. Therefore has to be my eyes focused downward. Especially according to what's explained in Chassidus, what does it mean that my eyes has to be down here below? Like I said, I have to focus on this earth, on changing the world, changing myself, and so on. He calls this whole idea that during davening I have to have ein of lamata because the Torah is down here and Hashem is down here. It comes after the preface that he binds himself upwards. In such a way that to you I raise up my eyes, the one that is settled in the heavens. Only after this preface and introduction. So then he could have his service down here below in the earth in the appropriate way. First, he has to raise his eyes to heaven. Then he could relate to the earth in the way that the earth is meant to receive and the way the Yid is supposed to deal with the earth. The Rebbe says in the third paragraph, this means to say, it's along with the fact that the Yid is down here below in this earth. He's bound up with his Father in heaven. To you I have raised up my eyes, the one that settled in the heavens. And in such a manner he does his avodah down here below in the earth because his eyes are raised upward. Similar to the way it was already on an earlier occasion during the Gimel of the Torah. He bent down and he lowered the supernal heavens and the lower heavens, and he spread them out over the mountain, Vayera aleihem, and he descended upon them, like Rashi says in Parshas Yisrei. Kloimar, this means to say, Shagam kasher Vayera Hashem al Har Sinai, even when Hashem descended on Har Sinai, it was still that Hashem spoke from the heavens, because he took the heavens and placed it on the mountain. So we see this duality. We need to have the connection with the heavens and then bring it down into this earth. So here the Rebbe is going to connect it with the Geula. Like we said, the whole message of this chapter is that we have been filled with this lengthy golus, the mockery of the lengthy golus. So too concerning the redemption. That is the content of the request, that to you I raise up my eyes. Chanenu Hashem chanenu kirav savanu v'gomer. Favor us, Hashem, favor us, because we have been filled with all the negative of the goals. Shagam ba mudgish hachibur d'shamayim v'aretz. Also in the Geula is emphasized the union and the joining of heaven and earth. Yesh lambei zofanim begula hasidah. It's known that there are two manners, two approaches, two ways how the future redemption can come about. Aleph, like it describes Moshiach, Ani v'roichev al chamoir, he's poor and riding upon a donkey, which indicates that it's something that's a very slow progression. Physically very slow. If anybody's seen donkeys, they're not known for their speed. Beis, Imanan Ishmaya. Another way is that will come with the clouds of heaven, like you see that the clouds can fly very quickly across the skies. Last night we had to do Kiddush Levana. We had to make sure the clouds didn't block it. Here the clouds are flying this way, then they're flying out. So he's saying, Vishleim is Hagulahi. What is the ultimate redemption? Looking at Chamoir and Shemayim in their spiritual meaning. B'yoisa imanani Shemaya, to be with the clouds of heaven. V'loi ba'ofen da'ani v'roichev al chamoir meloshen chumlius. Not in the way of a poor one and riding on a donkey in the meaning from the word materialism and coarseness. So in other words, instead of dealing with the materialism of the world, and in that way the Geula coming, the Geula's better way of coming, the perfection of the Geula is that it's in a heavenly manner. Like we know that Baal Shem Tov explains that what does it say when you will see the donkey of your enemy collapsing under its load? It says chamoir. It doesn't just mean donkey, but it means the chumrius, the coarseness. So the ultimate level of the Geula, the perfection of the Geula, is the heavenly Geula, like the clouds of heaven, the emphasis over here on the word heaven. So in this, in the future redemption, is expressed the joining of heavens and earth. On the one hand, we emphasize that the Geula has to be in actuality. Gula kipshuta ba'aretz alzu agashmis, a literal redemption in this physical earth. Keloimar she'ein listapik be'inyan ha'geula k'fi shi b'Torah. Do not be satisfied with the Geula the way it's written in Torah. Torah talks about Geula. That's enough for me. Al derech u'bedugmas piskum ha'tzamach tzedek, similar to the saying of the Tzamach Tzedek, mach do Eretz Yisrael. Make this place into Eretz Yisrael. Even when we're in the time of exile, even the time of chutzlar. So there's a concept of a Torah view of Geula. That's insufficient. The redemption has to be in the world in the literal sense. This itself, not just the perspective of the world, the way it's from the Torah's perspective, but rather the way it's in the state and situation of the world from the expression of concealment. And in addition to that we need to have the Geula should be ba'aretz, in the physical earth, in our physical world. We still emphasize the ultimate perfection of the Geula is in a way of with the clouds of heaven specifically, not in a way of being a poor one and riding on a donkey. According to what we said earlier, the intention, the meaning that to you I raise up my eyes, the one that is sitting in the heaven. It doesn't mean exclusively raising his eyes to heaven and ignoring the ground. This very matter that I have raised up my eyes should be connected with placing my eyes down here below. This means to say, Chibur shamayim va'aretz yachad, the joining of the heavens and the earth together. So based on this, Tuvan gam hashayches hamyuchedes the mizmer zeh bal yom haledes. It'll be understood the connection between this kapitel Tillim of Kuf Chav Gimel with the one whose birth date is the Rebbe Rashab. Hascholas kol ha'inyanim b'Torah. The Rebbe often emphasizes that whatever we want to find and understand, we need to first find it in Torah, because since it says that Hashem looked in the Torah, and that was his plans and architectural drawings by which, the blueprints by which he created the world. So everything involving the world has to have a source in Torah. In our case, the ein of lamata, the idea of the eyes being downward, Shaykh be'ikr lenigla Torah, is primarily connected with the revealed part of the Torah. Kimitzad nigla the Torah, because from the perspective of the revealed part of the Torah, so ikr ha'adgashi, the main emphasis is on the main emphasis is Torah loy b'shamayim, that the Torah is not in the heavens. The idea that to you I have raised up my eyes, that concept, that idea is Hayosh mind, one that's settled in the heavens. It's connected with the study of the inner part of the Torah, Torah's Chassidus, the teachings of Chassidus. Excuse me. Ki Torah's Chassidus Isaac is v'bir ha'inyanim ha'kshurim, the Midias Habayre Chulu, because the teachings of Chassidus is involved in explaining matters that are connected with knowledge of Hashem. You should know the God of your father. That's the general idea of him. To you I raise up my eyes, the one that's settled in the heavens. Since the intention is that you I raise up my eyes, the one that's settled and living in the heavens. Like we said before, his raising his eyes above should be connected with his eyes going down below. Chibur shamayim va'aretz, the joining of heaven and earth. Like it's understood from the continuation of the kapitel that our soul has been filled much. Shavakoshi ala gula mata. The request is to have the redemption down here below. We want the redemption to be in a way of flying with the clouds of heaven. Moving, it's understood. Shascholas inyan zeba Torah yachibur the pnimis haTorah shamayim imnigla the Torah aretz. It's through joining the inner part of the Torah, which is the heavens, with the revealed part of the Torah, earth. And when we have both, when we have not just the revealed part of the Torah, but we have the hidden part of the Torah and the heavenly part of the Torah, through that we cause that there's the joining and the bringing down of the heavens down here upon earth with the coming of Moshiach. Should happen immediately. And this the Rebbe connects with the Rebbe Rashab later on. He goes through the Sikha because the Rebbe Rashab established the yeshiva of Temchet Mimim, where they would learn both the revealed part of the Torah and the hidden part of the Torah. And then later on, the Rebbe goes on and says that it has to be in such a way that even though that we are involved in the most holiest things and the greatest things, it still has to be that we have to cry out, like it says in this kapitel, Tillim, Barabba Savalan Avshenu. It's too much. We can't take any more the length of the gullus. We're asking for it to be done. And the Rebbe goes on and says further on the Sikha that there's Yidden that think that since they're studying Torah and they know, they believe in their own mind that they know the entire Torah, so they believe they can remain stuck in Galus. it's Golus is okay with them, Rahman al-Islam, because the main thing is they should sit and learn Torah. So first of all, the Rebbe says the very fact that he imagines that he knows the entire Torah shows already on the powerful darkness that the person finds himself in. And in addition to that, how awful it is, such a Torah study and Torah knowledge, that he believes after all the Torah that he studied that it's good for him to remain in Torah while in Golus because he's studying Torah. How terrible his Torah study is if that's what it leads him to. And then the Rebbe goes on and brings the famous Rambam that the reason that the Chachamim, all the Yidden, the Nevi'im, the Chachamim desired the days of Moshiach was to be able to fill their minds with the knowledge of Torah. So even though the Rambam is talking about people that are real Chachamim, real Nevi'im, and still in all, they were dissatisfied with Golus, and they weren't happy with Golus, and they were desiring the Geula because they realized that it's that's the true Torah study. And here there can be people that could say, the Rebbe says, that as long as I can study Torah, I'm happy, I don't have to be worried about Golus. And then the Rebbe goes on and says, they bring a proof from what it says in this, when we bring them a proof, and they say, it says, that we say that we're hoping for your salvation a whole day. So he says, Siddur, that's for children, like, because I'm a big Talmud Chacham, I could, my job is to like analyze a Rambam. So I'm bringing you a Rambam, the Rebbe says. And the Rebbe keeps on going on and on in this vein, and he says that we have to go on in the lesson and directive of the Rebbe to know that we're supposed to hope for and daven and expect the coming of Moshiach through raising our eyes to heaven and expecting it to come in a way of with the clouds of heaven, that the Yidden will come with those clouds of heaven to our holy land, to Yerushalayim HaKodesh, and to the Beis HaMikdash Ashlishi, the Mikdash of Hashem, that your hands prepared out of joy and gladness of heart.